Dr. P.K. Abraham is the turnaround strategist and inspiring leader. He is the CEO of True Coach Paints Kochi. Dr. Abraham was general manager of fertilizers and chemicals Core, popularly known as FACT Limited. He was managing editor and managing director of Rashtra Deepika, which is the first Malayalam newspaper. He was the director of the famous MacFast Business School in Kerala and dean of Xavier Institute of Management, Bangalore. He is an icon of success for many leaders in media today. People who had worked with him had flourished in their career in various fields. He encouraged warriors and worked with them to revive the project successfully. Welcome, Dr. Abraham, to our show. Dr. Abraham, you have heard what Professor Dr. P. Subramania mentioned and what Mr. Ramnath Pradeep mentioned. And both of them has of the same view that yes, the rural economy is booming because because 2-3 reasons. As the migrants have reached there. Secondly, the Manrega scheme, the government's thrust, the government is giving free rations to them, and government is also supporting by transferring the funds or the Ujjwala, etc. But the urban is not directly benefiting any residents of urban areas. Although the government has given for the MSMEs loans and schemes for the industries, but that is not reaching to the workforce. One. Secondly, because of the migrants problem, the migrants have already left the urban area, so the industries cannot run, and there are only 10 or 20% workforce is there. And thirdly, even if they run, there is no demand unless because of the lockdowns, supply chains have been broken. And yesterday, one of the panelists has also mentioned that whatsoever they have supplied earlier pre-COVID area, now their money is not coming. So the money is not that they require loan, but they say even if our own money, which they have given to the public parties, we are not able to recover. So that is also one of the area. Now you are a very successful strategist. You have turned around many of the businesses. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on urban economy. Dr. P.K. Abraham, please.
There is no need of much of revival for the rural economy. Obviously, it is booming. I don't have to say the indicators of why it is booming. We have one of the best rabi harvests. India had one of the most successful agriculture year, and it is going to continue for the next, perceivably in the next year as well. COVID has devastated and destroyed the city life, actually the entire city life. As we see, the city life had a very vibrant life. People were attracted to the city because of its vibrant and colorful and then great life. The nightlife, the day life, the arts, the cinemas, the various conventions, all those things, the restaurants, the malls. So the people migrated, and the availability of jobs also. There was a huge migration from the villages, which consist of, which is keeping about 60 to 70% of the population, but there is a migration, huge migration from middle 80s onwards to urban areas, and our cities have become bigger and bigger, and along with that, of course, it has started or it has expanded our economic sphere also. Now, compared to the economic activity or goods and services produced both in urban as well as rural areas, there is a big difference. Of course, as everyone knows, the rural areas, the agricultural areas produce agricultural commodities, mostly processed and semi-processed, and little bit of service is there. The city economy is mostly on service economy, and you know which are the services in the cities concentrated, like your education service, like your trade, like your financial service, your health services, then your restaurants, your entertainment center, cinemas, conventions, malls, and also the various other ways in which life is becoming very alluring and entertaining. And so people migrated large number to the cities. And that is why we had the huge city agglomeration of people, the crowding of the cities. So once COVID has affected these cities, which has millions of people crowded in very small places. The crowding or the population density cities is phenomenal. And the COVID found to its liking that it can jump from people to people in an exponential manner. And you know, the death rate and the devastation rate is very high in the cities. And the government to ward off, to prevent the onslaught of COVID, thought that closing down is the solution. I'm not saying that closing down is not the solution. All over the world, the governments found that closing down is the solution. So they closed down. What have they closed down? They closed down the life of people. They say that you sit at home. And once you are locked down when the people are locked down in the homes with the order not to move out except for very essential needs, the entire business life, the entire economic life stood standstill. No more than service. There was large number of services there which was employing thousands and millions of people, both at the lower level, median level, and the top level. You have the small traders, the street vendors, the rickshaw pullers, even the drivers, various transports, housing, rental services. We have the cinemas, art, exhibitions, malls. Then we have education services. One of the many reasons of the people migrating to cities is, one is to get employment. Second is to get education. Third is to get other services. So all these service establishments, your restaurants and all your maid service, even your maid service, there were, in any city you take, thousands and thousands of people are even employed by middle and upper class people as their domestic servants. They all get wages and they live with that wages. So all these economic activities have been shut down. When the people were shut down and when the people were asked to sit at home, this has started in the first lockdown. Lockdown 1 started in 22nd or 23rd March, and it is still continuing. Though there was partial opening, then there was closing, then there was opening, but still it is continuing. So the economic devastation which was happening in the cities which is contributing maybe about 40 or 50 or even 60% of the GDP by way of service, mostly service. Of course, they also produce goods in small factories, MSMEs, and small establishments. Of course, the large establishments are in factories which are now mostly in suburban and factory and industrial areas. But the other part of the economic activity which gives to GDP maybe at least 30 to 40% of the services. The entire 30 or 40% of the GDP is now closed down. And with this closed down, and the huge misery has happened to about say 15 to 20 crore of people. At least 15 crore of people who are employed under various jobs. Mostly, I must say, lower level jobs, not upper level jobs. Though upper level jobs could have also affected, but they may have some savings and all that. But the lower level jobs, like your driver, your maid, your panmala, your fellow who sits and wait in the restaurant, your chayawala, all those kind of people, millions. And also the normal construction worker. The cities were also witness to a lot of building and construction work. There were a lot of infrastructure development in all the cities, renewal of all the cities. So all these construction workers who flocked into the cities, all they were in a single stroke of pen or the order has been thrown totally to the street. And we have seen one of the biggest and most miserable migration in the history of humankind. I must say humankind even, because a similar migration would have happened in the time of Tughlaq when he changed the capital and ordered the entire capital walas at that time to go to Tughlaqabad, leaving only one dog and a beggar. Only two people were at that time available in Delhi, it was said. Anyway, now this has happened and people have gone back and all these establishments have been closed down. Our GDP, especially the urban GDP, is very largely affected and it is closed down. Now, what is the way in which we can revive that? Now, this is the problem. There is no point in highlighting the problem alone, but we should highlight, or we should think and creatively think out of the box and how, as economists or as planners or as people who are socially committed or socially conscious, what can we do now? Now, the first thing we can do is that now the government is partially opening, so that is very fine. It should be very gradual. The openings will be and should be very gradual, because you cannot open all of a sudden and make everything in the pre-COVID states. That situation cannot come all on a sudden. It may take another 3 or 4, even 5 years. So the opening will be gradual. The establishments and the service centers and the service sectors where people can be engaged following the safe protocol of COVID can be opened. It will be very limited. It cannot immediately employ all the people who are thrown away. You cannot immediately open all the malls, all the cinema centers, all the restaurants, all the crowd pulling places. You cannot have it. All the educational institutions, all the medical institutions, you cannot open and employ all the millions of people who have displaced back, at least not for the next 1 or 2 or even 3 years, until we find a suitable vaccine and then protect all the people. That may be a year or 2 away. But meanwhile, the government, the authorities, the planners, the powers should do certain immediate things. One is, we have seen that the rural economy is booming, and large number of people who have now gone to the rural areas, the migrant workers, reverse migration took place. They are engaged by the agricultural sector. Not all, but to a certain extent, a small portion. But all the other people are now sitting idle there. They should be employed. So the government should immediately start rebuilding or investing massive amount in the rural area. In the rural area, they should create world-class infrastructure. So one need not go to the city to get education, city to get employment, city to get treatment, or city to get entertainment. Once you create this world-class infrastructure in the villages, in the rural areas, people will settle there. It will create sufficient employment. What kind of infrastructure they can create? Yes, the roads, the other infrastructure, the institutions can be shifted. The major hospitals, the major educational institutions, all those kinds can be shifted to the rural areas. And then instead of having certain areas like Bombay and all that, big cities, bigger cities, you can have a rural-urban continuum, so that all the facilities you get in the cities is now or a period of say 5 to 10 years. Such a devastation has taken place, so there is nothing wrong in taking about 5 to 10 year period for rebuilding the rural infrastructure and making a urban and rural continuum. So that is one way in which the reverse migration and reverse settlement can be taken place. So large number of people can be resettled in the rural area itself, in employment, in new facilities. For example, food processing industries, agricultural processing industries. India is one of the very few countries which produce surplus food. And the large number of the world nations are starving, or they are short of food. So India can be really the food supplier for most of the world world countries who are starving or who have deficit in food. So this can be produced, it can be processed, it can be transformed into goods and services in the rural sector, which employs large number of the present displaced labor. That is one suggestion I have.
Okay, okay.
The long term. One more minute. A second suggestion is create sufficient labor camps in the model of Singapore in the cities, resettle, rehouse the present labor who have gone or fled to the villages, and now most of them sitting idle because they get some employment at the time of sowing and then harvesting. Otherwise, they are also idle, and they are having a strain on the rural economy. So take them back, make these camps near the industrial center, near the cities, labor camps. Let them house there and give them direct transfer of money so that they will have sufficient purchasing power. They will demand goods and sustenance services. So income will be transferred, purchasing power will be created. And as and when the urban centers are open, these people are re-employed gradually. It may take a year or two to re-employ them gradually in the cities, wherever the service centers can be opened, wherever the service centers can be re-established following the safe protocol of the COVID. So, and thirdly, the government should also transfer sufficient grain. The India is having sitting on tons and tons, billions and billions of tons of food grains. They can have a huge food supply program in the form of, my fellow panelists said that Manrega type of program they can have in the cities, where there can be a lot of developmental work, construction work, project works, wherein these people are engaged as in the manner of Manrega, and the part of the wages or even full wages can be given as cash, and the kind like the food grains are also available there. And by this reverse process, the reconstruction process, this can be done, and concurrently create huge townships in the rural area, so that large number of people now may like to go and settle and see the sky and the greenery in the village areas. So it will be a reverse migration now, not only for seeking employment by poor people, but also by rich people, middle class people, finding that the city life is not that great, can be also greater in the villages. You can see the green and the sky and the stars.
So you have mentioned very clearly, you mentioned that the coronavirus is partial to the urban life, and they have destroyed the city life. You also mentioned that the urban areas are basically a service industry, where the people are doing mainly the service industries are in the urban area. Do you think there will be a shift of big businesses to rural area?
As we all learned in the small economic classes, there are 4 factors of economic growth, production and economic development. It's very fundamental: land, capital, labor and enterprise. Here we have sufficient land. Capital is in plenty in the terms of machinery, factories, financial assets, foreign exchange assets. So capital there is not there, and there are nations waiting in the outside to come and invest their capital in India. Enterprise, we are all huge enterprising people. Indians are now, the new generation of Indians are extremely enterprising, entrepreneurs. So no dearth of entrepreneurship. But the problem is with labor, as everyone said. The working labor, actually the real working labor with their hand and legs and then body, are in trouble. They are the people who got migrated back, and they are now waiting. They have no they have no food, they have no income. Even about the 20,000 crore our Prime Minister has distributed or distributing. What is in it there for the 4th element, or the most important element, the labor got? Okay, they got some two times free ration for some people, some small 1,000 rupees in their bank account, and nothing more than that. But the money went to all the MSMEs I'm not grudging the MSMEs. The money went for the concessions and the other huge infusion went for the corporates. But what went to labor? Nothing much. Out of the 20,000, 20 lakhs crore, not even 2 lakhs crore went to them. Naturally, they should have got at least 25% of that because they are the fourth and most important element of economic development. So they are now all languishing. At least 70 or 80% of the displaced labor, everyone calls and cries migrant labor. 80% are now languishing. They should be resettled immediately. And in my submission in the earlier, when I introduced, I said that the government should open camps, massive labor camps, bring them back, put them in production areas, put them in urban area, semi-urban areas where the employment is waiting, and then give them a kind of unemployment allowance and unemployment grants to them till they get employment. Meanwhile, house them, give them enough money for keeping their lives together. Wherever possible, educate them, upgrade their skills, put them in the urban areas where businesses are opening, which can be opened gradually. And okay, once they are employed, they need not pay any more employment grants or employment allowance. To the extent possible, existing service facilities should be shifted to the rural areas. More than that, the new ones which are created should go to the rural areas. That's why I said that the rural areas now should create world-class centers, infrastructure, roads, educational institutions, research centers, processing centers, manufacturing centers, assembling centers. Then they should work as the connected chain, supply chains. All this can be done. So in that way, there should be instead of smart, the government is thinking of the 20 smart cities, 50 smart cities, but they should also now change their focus to smart villages, hundreds and thousands of smart villages and smart rural areas, smart rural centers they have to create using this money, this land, labor and capital which is available there. All the other three are there. The labor is just waiting. This is what I want to say. That is my recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim, for giving the very good advice that the smart cities, when the government is emphasizing, why not the smart villages? And we have about 6.5 lakhs villages in India.
Yes.
So
yes,
definitely we require smart villages.
That smart villages as a first prop.
Okay. So, and according to you, the shift of the big businesses to rural area is inevitable, and new projects should be given priority in the rural area. So definitely the migrants problem will be sorted out in a partial way, but yes, effective way. Now I would like to have the same brief suggestion from Dr. P.K. Ibrahim as well as your advice.
Yes. My advice to the public is to take care of yourself. Don't wait for the government and the health authorities to come and then take care of you. Okay, they will come, but you take care of yourself. Don't be afraid. This time will pass, and definitely vaccine will be found. And till time, very cautiously move forward. To the government, my advice is that the government is the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister. Every time they say that economic growth, GDP. GDP moves on 4 legs. That is the production and the growth. That is, as I said just now, land, capital, enterprise and labor. All the three are now well fed. The land is there, the capital is there, your head is there, your chest is there, your heart is there. But the labor is your leg. On the labor, you have to move forward, move forward, run forward, and like the hockey stick graph, you have to go up. But what is happening to the labor? They are totally immobilized, totally impoverished, totally in the bed. They cannot walk, they cannot run because they don't have anything. So they should be rehabilitated, and sufficient suggestions we have already given, resettlement of them in the new satellite towns, modern smart labor camps where they can be reskilled, There can be, their skill level can be employed, their mental attitude can be changed, they can be made more fitter for the new openings and the existing opening. This is what the government do in a massive way. Out of the 20 lakh crore, the government should at least put 10 lakh crore on reviving the labor alone. The other things are capable, they will revive themselves. The capital, the MSME, the corporates, they will revive themselves. The farmers will revive themselves. They will all run. Only section which cannot on their own come up is the labor, because labor, as you know, they are the weakest link.
So and according to you,
the government, Mr. Modi should put at least 50% of his 20 lakh crore on them in different ways. So this is
thank you, Dr. Abraham, for giving the suggestion that the labor should be given the maximum priority, and you said that at least 10 lakhs crores to be given to them. Until unless we not integrate the rural economy with the urban economy, it is not possible to bring back the urban economy. Now, earlier we are always emphasis on urban economy. We never thought of the rural economy. So this is the opportunity the epidemic has given to the rural areas, and I am sure that the rural economy, if they will boom, they will also get the respect what they deserve, which were lacking behind for last so many years in India.